Hey there, I'm Kevin Monell with the Journal of Wildlife Photography, and we just completed the judging of our bird behavior photo contest, where the winner will receive a $16,000 lens of their choice. Second place will get $1,000, and third place will take home $500. In this video, I'm going to present to you all the finalists, and I will do my best David Attenborough impression and read the stories that were sent in by the photographers. Then I will announce the 3 winners, so please stick around till the end. And because of the overwhelming response of this contest, we decided to do it again. Please check out the details in the comments below and see how you could win a $16,000 lens of your choice. Also, please subscribe below to follow along with all of our wildlife photography contests. But for now, enjoy this presentation of the finalists in our bird behavior photo contest. Enjoy. This image is by Jill Johannesson, entitled Gravity Surrenders. A Gentoo penguin launched itself from an iceberg into the icy waters of Sierra Cove, Antarctic Peninsula. The splash below was left by another penguin that had dived just moments before, while this bird was still suspended between air and sea. For me, the image captures the split second between hesitation and instinct, a fragile, energetic moment in a rapidly changing polar world. This image is by Jasper Cook, entitled Jumping Water Rail. I've been wanting to photograph a water rail for quite some time, but they are really hard to find. Water rails spend almost their entire lives in the reeds, so you hardly ever see them. During a walk, I heard several water rails in one spot, which led me to start a water rail photography project. I asked myself, how could I get the water rail in front of the camera? Eventually, I found a sort of a ditch between 2 patches of reeds. Between them was a branch, so I set up a camera trap to see if the water rail was using it. Through the camera trap, I saw that the water rail did indeed use the branch. After that, I spent many hours camouflaged by a ditch. Then I finally saw the beautiful water rail just a few meters away. I also saw the lovely posture it takes when it jumps. I noticed that the water rail preferred walking over the branch rather than swimming through the water, even if it meant having to make a jump. I then positioned myself so that I was sitting parallel to the branch so that the rail would jump into the same focus plane as my camera. I then manually focused on where I expected the rail's eye to be. Each time, often only once in the morning, I jumped to the other side. I only had 3 shots. One as it pushed off, one in the air, if you were lucky, and one as it landed. The times I managed to get it in focus while it was jumping, one of its legs was still attached to the branch. Only in this photo does the rail completely lift off. However, this took many hours by the ditch, but it was more than worth it. This image is by Richard John Arculus, entitled King Penguin Surfacing, Sandy Bay, Macquarie Island. A group of king penguins were porpoising in Sandy Bay, Macquarie Island. I was leaning over the after rail of an expedition cruise ship, and hoping one or more of these would come close enough so that I could capture a leap out of the water. One of the group fortuitously surfaced just off the ship, and I managed to get a photo of it as it was surfacing. This image is by Jenna Sterling, entitled Crawley Comfort Meal. Following this sandhill crane pair of the initial days of nest building and tracking their incubation dates allowed me to plan my visits to the preserve as they completed their transition into parenthood. When these colts were just 3 or 4 days old, they made their first of many daily treks from the nest to the preserve. With the goal in mind to capture the colt's eye view and food exchange with the parent's beak just dipping into the frame, I spent all of my time at ground level, laying in a soggy marsh grass. It took a few tries for the colts to successfully get this crawly meal down, allowing for a few different shots in the process. Balancing the low early morning light required finessing my shutter speed to freeze the action and my ISO to maintain image integrity as the lighting and composition shifted while they explored under the oak trees lining the marsh. This frame captures one of the many quiet moments with this family and is a fun glimpse into the diverse diet these cranes enjoy. This image is by Cam Barlow, entitled The Prairie Dance. I had set up a low-profile blind earlier in the spring at this sharp-tailed grouselet, and left it there for the birds to get used to. I like the low-profile blind as it gets me to eye level of the bird. This photo was taken as the sun was coming over the horizon, giving nice warm early morning light and a nice catch light in the bird's eye. Two grouse were paralleling each other as they displayed for a nearby female. They came across right in front of my blind, allowing me to take this shot. This image is by Arn Bivrin, entitled Early Breakfast. I was sitting in a hide hoping for some herons, and all of a sudden this bittern appeared. Over the moon when it also stayed for a while and caught a fish. This image is by Christopher Chacon, entitled Last Moments. I am lucky to have peregrine falcons nest less than a quarter mile from my house, and they often spend the year in the same area. One day early this winter, while chatting with another local photographer about them, I noticed our local male doing swoop dives in the next parking lot over from where we were. Upon running over, I saw that it was diving on an injured northern cardinal on the ground. They typically nab their prey in the air, so it was being very careful by trying to grab the bird on the pavement and making multiple passes, giving me the time to get some photos before it finally nabbed the injured bird and quickly finished the gruesome task. This image is also by Christopher Chacon, entitled Posing with the Catch of the Day. During spring migration, one of the stopover points for some horned grebes making their way from the Atlantic inland to breed territories is coastal Lake Erie. I was visiting Presque Isle State Park in Erie, Pennsylvania with a friend from there, and we were treated to a number of these handsome grebes that were transitioning into breeding plumage. As they were fishing in a quiet cove, with some patience, I was able to quietly get low on a dock and photograph them at almost eye level as they caught and quickly ate, one after another, young yellow perch. This photo is by Trip Lamb, entitled The Upper Wing. Male sharp-tailed grouse gather in a lac, a communal mating arena, where they compete to attract females. During early breeding season, their lacking site is often snow-covered, offering a neutral background that accentuates plumage and sparring. Fights break out quickly, and beaks, feet, and wings deliver fleeting strikes that require comparably fast shutter speeds, 1/5000th to 1/8000th. This was my favorite image from a 4-day session, shot from a blind on an overcast April morning in Michigan's Upper Peninsula. 1/5000th f/4.5 in ISO 3200. This image is by Jeffrey Schaberg, entitled Hummer Bubbles. There is a special place along the banks of the Frio River, or Rio Frio, located in the Texas Hill Country where a small dam continuously flows from the spring-fed waters, which is where this photograph was taken. There I observed a unique behavior of black-chinned hummingbirds flying into the mist along the waterfall. At first, I thought this was some sort of bathing behavior, but soon noticed that small flies were showing up in the images. This was a hunting technique. Not having encountered this behavior before, I decided it was a worthy photo opportunity given the unique environment. To capture this image, I sat in my swimsuit on a low beach chair in 18 inches of water to position my lens eye level with the approximate height of the birds were flying. With flying hummers being so fast, I handheld my camera so that I was agile enough to follow them in the viewfinder. This was with my Nikon D850, which has no eye tracking and maxes out at 9 frames per second. My original idea for this shot centered around the waterfall, but it shifted slightly once I saw how fun and captivating the bubbles were, some almost as large as the bird. So, Hummer Bubbles. This photo is by Dante Hunter, entitled Nightcap. Roughly midway through my trip to Brazil, I embarked on a several-hour journey heading deep into the Pantanal. Leading in and out of the world's largest tropical wetland, countless bridges provided safe passage over scattered bodies of water on the Trans-Pantanal Park Road. Consuming nearly a full day, the long, bumpy road was an adventure in itself as we peered through windows looking for wildlife. Little did we know, a flurry of activity around one bridge would literally have us falling over ourselves. As we approached a bridge, Nakunda nighthawks were flying in all directions around a small parcel of wetland. Although usually active at dawn and dusk, we quickly noticed the flock was there for a drink. The unusual midday activity created a scramble to get out for a shot. The van barely had time to stop before 6 photographers hastily stumbled over themselves and bounded into the deserted roadway. Footage of the kerfuffle would surely be award-worthy. Clearing for caimans and moving with caution, we followed a small path to reach the water's edge safely. The group naturally fell silent to concentrate on capturing this magnificent event. The sky was filled with full wingspans, wobbly flights, and giant opening mouths as the birds descended semi-gracefully over the calm water. Miscalculations on approach caused a noticeable number of nighthawks to seemingly collide with the water's surface. With no time to get comfortable or grab a tripod, the impromptu handheld photo session began. My goal was simple: freeze the action, minimize distractions, and get the sharpest image possible. Luckily, it was midday under full sun, and the camera's metering mode was already set to preserve the highlights. Using the front and rear dials, I quickly adjusted the shutter speed and fully opened my aperture whilst targeting a peak ISO. Ready to capture the moment, one nighthawk stood out in the flock. Narrowing its approach and trailed by a spider's web, the bird opened wide as it closed in on the refreshing water. Steadying my pan and timing my shot, I led the bird slightly as it positioned for a drink. For me, this wildlife photography experience and image shows a glimpse into nature's unpredictability and a life where nightcap during the day is a struggle to survive. This image was by Gabriel Watson, entitled Killer of Killers. I was pretty well shocked when I took this photo. I mean, how often do you photograph an owl killing another owl of the same species? This was a territorial dispute between two great horned owls. I had heard of this happening before, but never dreamed that I would see this in real life, much less be able to capture it on a camera. I was getting ready for school and noticed two great horned owls, one across the street and one in a tree above our house. I immediately went inside to grab my camera, the Nikon D850 with a Tamron 600mm lens. When I came back out, the one in the tree had attacked and was killing the one across the street. Needless to say, I was shocked. Rather than interfere with this incredible rare moment, I chose to keep my distance and snap a few pictures, including this shot with the victim's eyes still wide as it witnessed its final moments. This was not a predation activity, but rather a territorial dispute that ended up being way more violent than what you would normally observe. After the loser of this battle was dead, the victor took off and reclaimed his mate who had been watching from a nearby tree. Another thing that makes this photo extra special for me is that I took it 2 days after I lost my grandma. To capture an incredible moment like this just days after may be a coincidence, but I'm not 100% sure of anything. This was taken in Washington State. Those were some pretty awesome photos and stories to go along with them. Please comment below and let us know which ones were your favorite. Now, here are our winners, chosen by our esteemed panel of judges, Bill Maynard, Daniel Cadu, Ray Hennessy, and Gal Besson. Our third place prize of $500 goes to Jenna Sterling with Crawley Comfort Meal. Our second place prize of $1,000 goes to Richard John Arculus with King Penguin Surfacing. And now, the moment you've been waiting for, the first place prize goes to...
Hi, my name is Gabriel Watson and I'm a wildlife photographer based in Washington State. I am also the winner of the Journal of Wildlife Photography Spring Photo Competition. The theme for that one was bird behavior, and I won with my photo of two great horned owls killing each other, titled Killer of Killers. I was really shocked when I got that email, but really happy at the same time, and I'm still really excited and just so thrilled that I can be here with everybody. Now, one thing that I'd like to share with all of my fellow photographers is to notice the small things. A lot of my skills came from, just photographing absolutely everything that I see, whether that be birds or deer, or rabbits, or bugs, or insects, or amphibians, just all of it. Now, you'll get those big moments like what I captured. You'll have those, but if you don't hone the small skills, or your skills in general, with all the other things that you see, you might miss them. And I was so thankful that I had, because quite honestly, if I hadn't been photographing everything that I could possibly find, I probably wouldn't have been able to capture that image. It was dark, the lighting was really bad. It wasn't that great, but I was able to really bring it out and make it pop and work with the lighting to make that image that much more impactful, really enhance the raw intensity of it. And so, yeah, that's all that I really got to say. Thank you again, and yeah.
Thanks so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe below to follow along with us as we continue to grow a community of wildlife photographers just like you. I will also include links in the description below to all the winner pages on our website, where you can see the images again and read more about them. As always, you can check us out at journalofwildlifephotography.com. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.